Today is March 22nd, and last week we had a challenge to listen to an album all the way through without doing anything. I didn't do the challenge because I pretty much forgot about it, and when I thought about it, I still didn't do it. So, Mike, did you do the challenge?
Sort of. Sort of. I went to a concert in person. It was a string quartet, two violins, a viola, and a cello, playing the like selections and themes and whatnot from the works of Hans Zimmer. It was about an hour. It was this kind of like cool candlelighty thing in this big circular venue. So like the audience is in this big giant circle and the performers are in the middle. And it was super cool. And I think that should count
I
because
don't think it counts, but I mean, no, I don't think it counts because a concert is more, visually exciting. There's an experience involved, whatever. I mean, I see you get some credit, but I don't think it counts for the because it's not really what we said.
I need it to
You get
count,
partial
but
credit. I get zero
okay, I will take partial credit. I also, it definitely is not what I meant last week. So I feel like you could kind of argue around it, but I know in my heart that this is not really what I had in mind. And the reason that this happened is that I've been moving this week. I'm at the crescendo of the move today, and it has been a lot. Moving is the
credit. Before we get to excuses about moving and all of that,
okay.
are there any let's consider you got partial credit for the concert, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's just say that you did it. Were there any good observations that you made about the music? I mean, we chose this for a reason.
Hmm.
Is there any sort of interesting insights into the experience of music that you had
Here's what I
that you
found
want to share?
interesting. So I will say that the actual concert was kind of mediocre. Uh, I think Hans Zimmer is amazing, probably my favorite film composer, but there's something kind of funny about taking a film. There's two problems with, I think, this. If you're doing an arrangement of something, like you're gonna hear a string quartet play pop songs from whatever. It's pretty fun because it sounds completely different and it's like a really unique way to hear something that you've heard with guitars and vocals and stuff before. But when you're taking a something that's written for an orchestra or even an orchestra and then some, like other, I mean, think of the Dune soundtrack. Think of how insane the Dune soundtrack is. Like you hear sounds in the Dune soundtrack that you've never heard before. It's wild. And then imagine playing that on a string quartet. It's like, wow, this is a really lame version of the Dune soundtrack. It just fundamentally feels like you're subtracting down to something that's very similar but way way smaller. And then also it's a film score, and film scores are amazing when you see them in a film, but when you just sit and listen, you're like, okay, there's one theme that kind of randomly keeps popping up. It just isn't that great, but that's not that important. I mean, they did this because it's a great hook and it got people to come. Like, ooh, Hans Zimmer string quartet. That sounds good. And we went, so it worked. They're brilliant. But here's what was interesting. Despite this being not not something I actually enjoyed all that much, like in terms of the music itself, as soon as we sit down, I mean, the venue was amazing. Just the whole vibe was great. 5 minutes in, I'm like, I want to listen to music again. And I should play the guitar. Like it just started making me think of things that I just want to do. Like I'm just getting hit with motivation to do stuff. Some of it was like not even related to music at all.
Like
And
what?
like what? I
Well, you
forget.
said some of it. You forget.
I just felt general motivation in all directions. Did actually write some things down that I kind of don't remember super well. But that's why I wrote them down. It's been a pretty crazy
Can you
week
go
for me.
can you go look them up?
Not without ruining the podcast recording. I know one of them was fix my guitar. Some of it was music related, but it was like the same effect as walking into a bookstore, where you're like,
Yeah.
I want to read more books and journal and be smarter and stuff. It just makes you want to be like the better version of yourself. It was that
Yeah.
feeling, just kind of in all directions. Just immediately, just from being there, just from making the choice to be there. It was like I feel motivated to do things that are good rather than things that are garbage. And I was just kind of struck by that feeling that just presented itself despite the concert not being that great. And since that concert a couple nights ago, I was like, I'm going to listen to music again, or kind of the classical academia music, stuff for orchestra, stuff for the classical instruments. And I started looking up, like, are there modern composers that are actually good? Like, I don't want to go back and listen to all this stuff I listened to at school. And there are, and it's been pretty cool. So anyway, it was inspiring
Do
despite
you
not being very good.
maybe you kind of just half answered this, but do you have any idea as to why that is inspiring?
I think part of it has got to be just the intention of doing something like that. There it's pretty easy to just do mindless stuff and all that. So that's got to be a piece of it, but it's not all of it, I don't think. Like I said, I think it's similar to the feeling you get walking into a bookstore and just thinking, "Oh, cool. There's like a lot of a lot of stuff here that feels accessible. Like I could pick up a book and read it and learn something or enjoy a story or whatever. There's just like a lot of potential there. And something about hearing musicians play music kind of feels that way too. On the one hand, it makes you realize that there's a lot of music out there and you could listen to it and appreciate it. And it's a pretty rewarding thing. Then also, you can play music and learn it that way. And that's really cool too. I think it just presents you with this world of stuff that appeals in a way that kind of fits into the fantasy of like the better you a little bit. I'm
Okay.
not really sure. What do you think?
Well, so I didn't do the challenge, whatever, but I did go to a museum last week, and it was the Morse Museum in Orlando, and it has the largest collection of Tiffany glass, and I don't know much about uh, Louis Comfort Tiffany is his name, an artist that did all of these extremely extravagant Art Nouveau sculptures and glasswork, and it's incredible. Like it's phenomenal. And going through this museum, there's just so much art and I mean, full paintings and sculptures and
Hmm.
history. And you start reading about it, and he's connected to all these other artists that I'm obsessed with. And uh, and so you start going through this. Oh, and there's this whole, like, it's a small museum, but there's a couple rooms of just these epic, incredible paintings. And so I'm just standing there looking at them for a very, you know, large amount of time. And as I'm going through the museum, I feel this feeling, and I'm trying to figure out what it what it is. It's like this inspiring, almost anger. It's like frustration because I'm looking at all of this, and I'm just thinking, like, this is the life that this is everything I've ever wanted. This life that they have, these dead artists,
Hmm.
this is everything I've ever wanted. Just the amount of craftsmanship and skill, and just incredible amount of talent that has gone into all of this stuff. And everything from the entire lifestyle of being an artist, a sculptor, and working in these studios and creating this stuff, and and everything about it is just so phenomenal. And I'm just wondering, like, what is this feeling? It's like jealousy, but it's so beyond that. And it's not a toxic feeling. It's not a bad feeling. It's not it's not like this cheap thing. It's like this deep-rooted
Mhm.
drive and like calling. And it's frustrating because I'm not I mean, I it's like, oh, these people get me. But what I'm getting to, and probably doing a bad job of explaining, is I was reading this book who by well, ironically, there's this epic, like this huge portrait of this guy named Robert Henry in the museum, and I didn't know it was there, or whatever. And it's just this huge portrait of this guy. I'm like, wow, that's cool, and it's painted by someone that I don't know, but the painting, or no, sorry, it's painted by Robert Henry. It's of someone I don't know. Whatever, doesn't matter that much. But I'm like, Robert Henry, I know that name, but I can't quite place it. I didn't really think much of it. Well, it hit me later. I have I ordered and was reading a book about a month ago called the Art Life. Nope, it's called The Art something. But David Lynch refers to it as The Art Life. Anyway, it's in the book he describes art as not being like a valuable thing in itself, like as a singular object. Art and everything we do with skills and art
Mhm.
and music and all of that is nothing but a roadmap to a place we go to in our minds. And so the paintings we conjure, the music we write, it's all just sort of this road sign back to how we felt at the time. It's like a map. Here's this map to how I felt. Then you look at that map and you find your way to that place. And you can't present the place in your mind that you go to. You present this roadmap or
Mm.
this road sign back to it. It's like all of art and all of music and all this skill and all this craftsmanship, the more you put into it, the more skilled it is, the more pure that map is to that place. It's never 100%, but like it points to that direction that you feel in the time that you create it as some, sort of a spiritual type of thing. And so you going to this concert and listening to music, it's like you can't pinpoint exactly what it is that's so inspiring.
Mhm.
And I couldn't pinpoint, and I can't pinpoint what it is that is so inspiring about seeing artists that are so skilled, artists, musicians, everyone. And it's like because you can't pinpoint it, you can't pinpoint the source of that inspiration and that like ever flowing creative
Yeah.
thing. But I don't know. It was interesting because I thought it was ironic that this giant portrait that I saw was painted by Robert Henry, who wrote the book about all the stuff that I was thinking of while I was looking at his portrait and going through that museum. It was just kind of this strange thing. But so when you're talking about going
Yeah.
to the concert and just feeling inspired, but you don't really know why, and it doesn't really have to stay specific to just music. It can
Mhm.
travel to other things.
Yeah, I
It's
would say
just
I just
inspiring. Yeah.
yeah, I just felt inspired, just flat out. One thing that strikes me a little bit, you kind of get a glimpse of different worlds sometimes. And lately, in the process of moving and thinking about, oh, we'd like to buy a house at some point, and how do we do that, and career stuff, and money, and all that kind of thing. And then you start talking to people, and some people make a lot of money, and they bought a house and then a bigger house and whatever. And you just start to get a feel for just kind of the money game, what it's like to try and get more stuff and all that. And some people you meet are like super good at this game, I was talking to a guy recently who's like ultra rich and just stuff like that. And you start to see this world, and on the surface you're like, yeah, man, it would be nice to have a nice house in a nice place. I get it. But you look more and more, and they're thinking about this guy who just bought this like $1.5 million house with a million rooms, a huge house, one dude, that's it. And he's just like kind of chilling in his giant empty house. And something about that world, and I'm not like have a nice house if you can. Great. I also want a nice house. Or, making more money is cool. I would like to make more money, but there's something about the world itself. Like you look at the people who are at the top, and to me it's kind of gross. Like I don't want to be that person. That they're super rich and gaudy and whatever. I'm not saying all rich people are like that, but just the whole world. It's not that appealing if you really start looking hard at it. And there's other worlds, right? Like influencer types, the people who are really big on Instagram and TikTok. You look at that world and you're like, yeah, it'd be cool to be more popular and make money that way. I mean, it kind of boils down to money too, but there's kind of this attention game to it. And you look at that, but it's so shallow. Like it just is very shallow. And I don't like the whole world, it doesn't have anything interesting beyond like, yeah, it'd be cool to be popular and make money. You look at the world of art and you think, "Oh my god. The amount of depth there is astounding." Like I'm not an artist, like a physical artist. I don't paint, I don't do anything. And we were talking about this. We went to the Portland Art Museum recently, and there was a lot that I liked. There was a lot that I didn't like. But what strikes you is just the depth of that world. You're like, this is something different. This isn't grift. This isn't just silly nonsense. Some of it is, but like if you take the world as a whole, like man, some of these people dedicated their entire lives to something with no guaranteed reward at all. Some of them were not recognized for it in their lifetimes. They died penniless and all of that stuff. And there's just something incredible about it. And music is like that. A lot of things are like that. But there's just something that strikes you as feeling so different when you are peering into a world that just has that kind of depth versus one that feels very shallow. Books books have depth, music has depth, art has depth, like all that stuff. You know it when you see it immediately. And it makes you feel like, oh, I would love to be someone who is just part of this somehow. Maybe not even this world, but it's one like it, versus just the shallow, pointless novelty that you see in so many other places.
Well, uh, yeah, it's like I don't know, art and music and all that stuff. It's in books and stories and all that. It's about a place in the brain. Like it's about
Yeah.
somewhere you go in your head.
And it's not even just art. I mean, those three are kind of part of a cluster, but even people doing science or just pursuing something really challenging and thinking really hard and trying to solve really hard problems. There's something about that. You're like, that's cool. I really respect that.
Okay, so let's be inspired. um, okay, so you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the last time we will ever see this scene ever.
Yes. Let us thank this house and this room for all it has done, but it is time to say goodbye.
Goodbye, purple room and lights. I remember anything you want to reminisce about? I remember when you set up the IKEA lights, or we're obsessed with those.
Yeah. I am
Uh,
so dreading trying to set that up again
you
because
don't have to. Most people just kind of have lights in their
mm,
place, and
that's
that's it. No, okay.
barbaric. That is caveman stuff. I can't
Well,
imagine just setting up a room with lights in it and just every light is on full blast. That's crazy to me. Uh, Obviously, you have to balance the light levels until it looks right and the color tip. How could you not do that? I don't know how people live that way.
well, good luck.
Yeah, it's gonna suck.
Well, is there anything that we missed this week? I went to MegaCon.
You did.
Yeah, I went to MegaCon in order to look at other people's booths and see if I could learn anything from them. I've
Did
now
you?
done that. 2 or 3 years in a row,
Mm.
and I feel like I have reached the the limit of things I can learn as an observer,
Yeah.
and I need to just do it. And I've applied again for next year. I've applied 2 years in a row and have not got in. So I might, you know, try to find something else. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Good work. Part of the grind, I guess.
yeah. I submitted my book, so they
Right.
should have that printed eventually. I
Cool.
actually told them to pause so I could redo the cover, and then I have to send that to them. I redid it. I just gotta send that to them
Okay.
again, and then it should be, I don't know, probably a month from now. I'll have some books, which would be super cool. So
Cool.
I'm very excited about that.
Well done.
Um, yeah. What about you? Now, like your post deadlift 500 pounds life. What's that like?
It is funny because this is dumb in a way, but I've been lifting for a very long time. I've spent endless hours lifting and training and eating and sleeping and all these things. And like nothing really changed. But there is something about the mimetics, like just the thought in your brain where other people will say, like, I did this, of course, mom and Sam and friends are like, oh, Mike deadlifted 500 pounds. Like, we go do a birthday party at the bar, and like random people are like, oh, dude, I heard you lifted 500 pounds because somebody's talking about it, right? It's just, it's a thing to say that like sticks in your head. Like, whoa. But in my own head, that's just like a fact about myself now. You know, we're moving, and there's some guy like there's 1,000 people moving into this apartment complex this weekend. So there's some company where they hired movers, and so there's just some guy who's like super jacked. He looks like just classic Arnold Schwarzenegger almost. And I'm just looking at the guy like, wow, that dude is so jacked. But I can deadlift 500 pounds, so I'm doing fine. Like, there's just this line in my head now. Like, I'm somebody who can deadlift 500 pounds. Again, it's not that different from before, but it's like a story about myself that just changed a little bit. And there's just been times where I'm like, I'm 40 now, I'm getting old, but hey, I can deadlift 500 pounds. So got that going for me. And I don't know. It's I think it's pretty cool. I think it's really nice to just have this thing in my head.
Okay. I was also half expecting you to say that was a bad thing.
I don't know if it
Like,
is or not. Like maybe
I
your
guess, yeah, we
confidence
gotta.
and self-image shouldn't be built around arbitrary numbers that don't necessarily mean much. But I'm gonna roll with it for now because I feel good.
Maybe that's why we do those things, so we can say we've done them and then feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna overthink this one just now
Okay,
because
yeah, just be proud of yourself, I guess. I
yeah,
think that's okay.
yeah,
I I'm a person that wakes up at 5 a.m. every day, and you know, it it's been wonderful. It's been really wonderful, and I feel like I've made consistent progress on everything, like just by waking up. Now, this is the bad part because I'll talk about it and then it'll jinx it, and then I'll get totally
yeah,
thrown
yeah,
off.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
happened a million times, but if we remove that from the conversation, it's
Hmm.
every time I do this, I will I will make recordings of myself. I will say, you know, this is a note to future Daniel. I don't word it quite like this, but future Daniel, just to let you know, if you ever fall off or anything, the the secret is to wake up at 5 o'clock every day and work on stuff. Like I have multiple recordings of me saying this, multiple, tons of notes of me writing this stuff down, just to remind myself in the future when I'm not doing this anymore and I'm wondering what's going so wrong. The answer is that I need to wake up at 5 a.m. And I keep, like, my drawings seem to be improving. I just feel better about stuff. Even when I'm doing bad, it feels, oh, it's not that big of a deal because I'll just get back
Hmm.
to it tomorrow morning or whatever. And progress is being made. And it keeps hitting me like, oh, this was the answer all along, to wake up and do the thing that you want to be doing first thing in the morning every single day.
Yep.
And turns out you just improve. at those things when you do them every single day. And it's like, oh, that was simple. That's an easy solution. I don't know. I know it's so simple and whatever, but it's
But
like it's just
it's
a secret to be doing the thing.
right. Well, the reason it's a secret is because it's boring and simple and not interesting. Like it is anti-mimetic. It's the kind of thing that you can't talk about because it's too boring. It's too mundane. If you try and make a YouTube video about how you should wake up at the same time, nobody clicks on it because it's like whatever, who cares? You if you know, do 30 days giving yourself ice baths or punching yourself in the face, it's like, whoa, interesting.
Well, it does remind me of, I don't know, the time you were saying that you would get obsessed with all of these. You probably said mimetic because it seems to be a word you love.
I
Uh,
know.
you'd get obsessed with all these little weightlifting things. Are you, I don't know, increasing at the perfect ratio or whatever, or eating the exact right amount of carbs or protein or whatever. And you just obsess about that stuff. But at the end of the day, what really the only thing that mattered was that you were just working out consistently. Like you were just continuing to do that stuff. And that's how you improve.
Yeah.
Right. And if you get totally caught up in these tiny little interesting things, then, well, it's not that those are bad. It's just the main thing is
Right.
lift weights and you get stronger. And the
I,
main thing for me is wake up and do the thing every day and you
right.
improve.
Yeah,
So,
I think the only reasonable way to think about this stuff is to just imagine a rank ordered list and think, what is the number one thing? It's not the only thing, it's not a list of one, but what
right.
is the most important thing? If you're trying to get stronger, you have to show up to the gym. That's number one. If that's there, then you think, okay, am I lifting hard enough at the right frequency? Whatever. Maybe that's number two. And then, okay, am I eating? Like, those things do matter. If you're sleeping for 2 hours a night, you're probably not going to be a great power lifter, but you kind of just, you, it will drive you completely mad and you will almost certainly miss the most important things if you just kind of think of it as this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And like, ooh, this one is interesting. The stuff that seems interesting takes up an outsized amount of space in your head because it's interesting. That's how your brain works. You have to just like set that aside and think, what's at the top? Start there. Work your way down.
Yeah. I also find the 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 most important thing is also the hard thing. Like it's hard to draw every day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's hard to draw the hard stuff every day. It's easier to go practice or go do some sort of adjacent thing that takes me away from the make your own art. It's easier for me to just practice, I don't know,
Yeah.
perspective or something. It's much harder to just actually draw the picture I'm supposed to draw. And
I feel like it's hard in the way that exercising consistently for months at a time is hard. Like it's not that hard in the moment. You can do it one day, but to do it over and over when it's no longer novel and interesting and the thing that you're obsessed with, that is like a very particular type of hard. You just
yes, and that's why most people fail. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
good job getting up at 5 a.m. every day. That's ridiculously early. Um,
except
speaking
Sundays.
of,
I don't get up.
great,
But
yes,
speaking
good,
of what?
good. Well, just speaking of you getting up in a couple hours, we can wrap up. I need to go do more moving. All of this has to go away or get packed up and move. This is the only still coherent part of the house. Everything else is like disaster area.
Well, goodbye, Mike's Purple Light. And
Yeah.
can we get a podcast next week? I mean, there's always the chance that I cancel on you, but
If Comcast turns on my internet this week at the apartment, then I think so. Pretty sure. It was very inconvenient to do a podcast today, and I really, really wanted to because I felt like it was important in this transitional period. So
I
yes,
agree.
let's try very hard to do one next week.
Okay, it'll probably be inconvenient next week too, but
Mhm.
works for me. Okay.
Cool. All right. See you then.